like potato, and I like potato. You like tomato, and I like tomato. Potato, potato, tomato, tomato. Oh, let's call the whole thing off.
Telegram for Mr. Astaire, paging Mr. Astaire.
I'm dancing and I can't be bothered now.
Telephone for Mr. Astaire, paging Mr. Astaire.
I'm dancing and I can't be bothered now.
Music calling Mr. Astaire, paging Mr. Astaire.
I'm dancing, I'm dancing. Bad news, go away, call round someday in March or May. I can't be bothered now. My bonds and shares may fall downstairs. Who cares? Who cares? I'm dancing and I can't be bothered now. I'm up among the stars. On earthly things I frown. I'm throwing off the bars that held me down. I'll pay the piper when times are riper. Just now I shan't, because you see I'm dancing and I can't be bothered now.
Well, Mr. Astaire, you're not dancing, and I presume you can be bothered now on the subject of George Gershwin.
Yes, indeed, I can. George was a very close friend of mine.
Did you find that success made much difference to Gershwin? All the pictures of him, he looks just as happy in 1917 as he did in 1937. Did he change in those 20 years very much?
No, I don't think George changed. He was tremendously interested in the theater business and the work and new talent that was coming up. He used to talk about it. He said, yeah, all these people can do so many things. Isn't it marvelous? He said, I saw a couple of acts or something at a nightclub, and he asked my sister and me to go with him to see them. He said, I want you to see these people. They just come up out of the ground or something. All of a sudden, their great talent is right there. He said, I don't know where they all come from. Now, this is a long time ago. I often wonder what he'd think now, where they seem to be coming from the sky and out of the woodwork and everywhere else. There's so many talented.
We've talked about the somewhat hideous fidelity of the old recordings, but we can play one now, which I think is the utmost infidelity. You did it in 1957 when you starred with Audrey Hepburn in Funny Face.
The stage show of Funny Face was a totally different thing. That was one I did with my sister, Adele. And it was a successful show in New York and London. And the picture that I did with Audrey Hepburn in 57 was a totally different story. And just some of the songs of the original. In fact, well, He Loves and She Loves was in the original, but we had others that in the picture that were from some other Gershwin shows.
He loves and she loves, and they love, so why can't you love, and I love too. Birds love, and bees love, and whispering trees love, and that's what we both should do. I always knew someday you'd come along. We'll make a twosome that just can't go wrong, darling. He loves and she loves, and they love, so won't you love me as I love you?
Now, that song was from the soundtrack of the 1957 film version of Funny Face, but it was written 30 years previously for the Broadway show of the same name. Gershwin's career as a composer of musical comedies had begun at the start of the 20s. By the end of that roaring decade, he was king of the Broadway castle. He was also a strong influence on younger, aspiring composers. Arthur Schwartz is now one of America's most celebrated composers of musical comedy, with many successful songs to his credit, songs like Dancing in the Dark and You and the Night and the Music. But in the 20s,